Welcome back, folks. This is Friday the 13th, May 13th, 2022. Who would have thunk the way we started the week that Friday would be a good day instead of that tryptophobia kicking in and us fearing Friday the 13th. I guess the Bears fear Friday the 13th, as it turns out. All right, let's get started with unusual option activity. So, as most of you know, we define this as people buying, hands towards you, you're buying, hands away from you, you are selling. If you're buying calls, then you think it's going up. If you're buying puts, you think it's going down. Those are expressed in terms of big block buys. And our algorithm, the heat seeker algorithm, finds those, and we follow those. Talk about them on TV, share them with our subscribers, and frequently, very frequently, close to 80% of the time, the directions are correct. So without further ado, let's see today's 3 at 3. First, we have to address this because, of course, Elon Musk said, hey, Twitter's on hold. This was early in the morning. And I've got thoughts about that. But Elon said, you know what? It's on hold. Why is that? Well, because maybe there's a lot more fake accounts, bots, spam bots, and all that than he would like. Because Twitter has, in documents that they've sent to the SEC when they do their quarterly reports, they've said it's less than 5%. If it's significantly more than that, maybe there's an adjusted price, maybe he doesn't want it, and maybe Twitter ends up having to pay him $1 billion. Well, we don't know that any of that is going to play out, but nonetheless, it caused Snoop Dogg, none other than the dog father himself, to address some of this. And what did Snoop do? He said, I may have to buy Twitter now. And then he went on to say, in that larger one just to the right, going to replace the board of directors with Jimmy from My Corner Fish Fry, Tommy Chung, and the guy with the ponytail on CNBC. So, and they didn't mean me. Snoop meant my brother, Pete Najarian. And so the judge, being the judge, asked Pete, and he said, hey, our DMs are open over at Halftime Report. Why don't you shoot it in and see if really you want to talk about this, Snoop? Well, to my knowledge, they haven't addressed this yet, other than the judge doing this on the Halftime Report. You see a lot of smiles there from Bryn Talkington and from Rob Sechin, and maybe a little smirk across some of the other panelists' faces. But Pete said, you know what? I'd love to work with Elon Musk. Who wouldn't? And then Judge alerted him to the idea that, well, but if Snoop's involved, maybe Elon's not. Or maybe Snoop joins the party. Who knows? In any case, it made for some very fun television, and we needed some fun this week. Although getting a nice pop out of the market, also pretty fun. All right, there is, by the way, Pete's zombie on the NASDAQ, that big 60-foot screen there with Pete's zombie from thezombicollective.com. You'll hear more about that in coming weeks. And there's a little someone looking curious up at that zombie Pete. Nonetheless, let's move on. All right. Yesterday, talked about K-Web, or was it the day before? I think it was yesterday. Talked about K-Web. This is the Interwebs from China. They basically are the Crane Shares China Internet ETF. And it was moving higher, ended up being up almost 6% so far today. And the calls that we had on there, because you saw when we talked about it yesterday, it was 24.48. Basically, the stock moved up almost $2. And those calls that we were buying for, what was that, 170 or something like that, I want to say? 172 indeed. Well, those calls moving up to 262. I've taken half off, and now I will look to sell upside calls against what I already have. Again, just kind of laying it out for you, not telling you how you should trade your money. CryptoConvo, I will also tell you what I'm doing in crypto and who we're interviewing, who are the big disruptors going out this weekend. And I think I'm going to be meeting with Bill Maher. We'll see about that. And Adam Carolla, and possibly Mark Garagos as well. Should be a pretty interesting conversation. If we get that up for disruptors on CryptoConvo, you will love the discussion. So let's move on. By the way, you can go to CryptoConvo.com to see any of our former episodes as well as the new ones that we post at CryptoConvo.com. Okay, so here is my brother Pete, the guy, the next board member at Twitter, talking about Lucid, May 20 calls. Important, these are calls that expire next Friday, not this Friday, of course, next Friday. This is the 13th, they expire the 20th. And they bought a fair amount of them. As you can see, 25,000, 2.5 million share equivalent. That's a lot. I like following fast money. I did in this case as well. Then we've got Marquetta, and this one has sort of been good and bad. At times we've seen big buying and then it dies off. But because the stock was so high last year and got so low just a little bit ago, people are willing to take some shots. And here they're taking a shot in the June options that expire in basically 1 month and 1 week. So you want to call that 40-ish days into the future. June 10 calls, take a look. They bought 10,000 of those today. That was early on, 10,000. That's 1 million share equivalent. Always good to know when they're buying big amounts like that, because frequently people that buy a lot are right, buy a lot. So I am also in Marquetta, June 10 calls. Third and final of today's 3 at 3 is none other than Warren Buffett's favorite energy stock, Occidental Petroleum. June 67.50 calls. As you can see here, they've bought a lot throughout the week. In fact, just 2 days ago, they bought a big chunk, and today they're buying again. And that's why Pete covered it on the halftime report today. If you'd like to learn more about trading stock, options, crypto, come on over to Market Rebellion, because at Market Rebellion, we've got it all. We've got distance learning, which means just like you're doing now. You could be watching on your computer. You could be watching on your iPad. You could be watching on your cell phone. Wherever you are, you could be watching tutorials that will help you become a better trader. When you know how to trade options, you can control your risk on entry rather than being traded by the market. You can be the dominant force in the market by trading options. And you can do that because you control your risk. You can control time decay to the best of your ability by trading spreads, like the ones I talk about all the time. Buying the 25 call, selling the 28 call, things like that, 1-to-1. Make sure you check it out, marketrebellion.com/get started. That's marketrebellion.com/get started. Thank you, folks. Have a great day. I hope we see you back here bright and early Monday. And until then, make it a good one.